Hope you're all hope you're all doing well on this slightly gray day. Thank you so much for joining us. We are very happy to have Anna Stern from Watch For Me CT presenting on road safety for all users, especially pedestrian, bicyclists. Um, Before she jumps in, Jim is gonna do some housekeeping announcements. So Jim, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Kate. Welcome, everybody. This coffee hour is being recorded for those of you who couldn't be here, and for those people who couldn't be here, and for those who are here and would like to review anything we covered today. You'll be able to find this and all of our coffee hours, along with recordings of workshops, certification help, newsletter previews, and a great deal more on our YouTube channel. Just search YouTube for Sustainable CT, and you'll find us there. We'll also put a link in the chat, please, T, if you would, to get you there. And while you're there, be sure to check out this month's episode of the Impact, a Sustainable CT podcast. This new episodes are available on the 15th of each month on YouTube at sustainablecT.org and wherever you get your podcast. This month, it's fun. It's fun this month. You should check it out. It's John Henry Burke, a fellow extraordinaire. It takes over the big microphone this month to make some noise about noise pollution in Connecticut. And his guests included acoustician, say that a couple times, Amy Ziffer, along with our Westcog friend Mike Toll. I believe that's how I pronounce it. Our fellows have been working really hard this summer on, among many other things, assessing which communities have noise ordinances on the books and developing a database of their respective details. It's a fun podcast. And John Henry did a great job, so please check that out. And if, in case anybody you haven't heard, we have a save the date time, if you would, please, because we are having our 2025 annual awards celebration at the Goodspeed Opera House. Yay! It's a really cool venue if you're unfamiliar with it. We're going to be there on October 28th. Did I get that right, Kate? October 28th, right? Yeah. So mark that on your calendar. You can register early at sustainablecT.org, and we'll love to see you there. That's all I've got. Take it away, Kate.
Thanks, Jim. We'll hand it over to Anna to introduce herself and start things off. And if you would like, feel free to put in the chat your name, where you're from. And Anna, go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Stern. I'm a program coordinator for Watch For Me CT. I'm here today to talk about how we can help make roads in your community safer for everyone, but most especially pedestrians and bicyclists, because that's what Watch For Me CT really is designed to focus on. But making roads safer for one group has the amazing effect of making roads safer for everyone. So before I get into more about who we are and what we do, there we go. I want to spend a few minutes to talk about why road safety is important. First, some perspective. So in 2022, there were about 7,500 pedestrians killed in traffic crashes. That's the equivalent of about 38 747 MAX 8s crashing a year. I know, huge number. We actually have an example of when a couple planes crashed in a short period of time, unfortunately. And before I get into this, I don't want to minimize the loss of life that occurred with these two plane crashes. I'm simply using it as an example to sort of frame the problem. So in October of 2018, Lion Air flight crashed. And then less than 5 months later, another Ethiopian Airlines flight crashed. Those two crashes had about 346 people on them together, which horrible loss of life. It should never have happened. And I'm happy that the steps that followed took place. So after the second crash, the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and MAX 9 were grounded. They were grounded for about a year and 5 or 6 months. The CEO and other members of Boeing leadership were compelled to testify in hearings in the Capitol. There was a lawsuit with a $2.5 billion settlement that was meant to cover fines and restitution. And the chief technical pilot was indicted. This was unprecedented. Even though he wasn't found guilty, the fact that he was being charged with fraud was kind of a first time of something like this happening. So there really hasn't been something to scale happening for traffic deaths. So while it's great that all of these steps and all of these things happened after those two plane crashes, more needs to be done for all traffic crashes, including those that involve bicyclists and pedestrians. This is my little cricket sound. I'm not sure if it comes through. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So as I mentioned earlier, in 2022, there were about 7,500 pedestrians killed and 1,000 bicyclists. This was the worst year since 1981. So we have been going in the wrong direction, unfortunately. This shows the number of bicyclists killed from 1975 to 2022. 1975 was the first year that this really was recorded in this way. And as you can see, while it did go down for a while, around 2009, 2010, they started to go up steeply. So much so that 2022 was significantly higher than when they even started recording. If I showed you a graph of pedestrian deaths over the same period of time, it would look very similar. You would see a little bit of a downward trend, and then around 2009, they explode again. This is more to focus on Connecticut. So in 2024, there were about 321 people killed on the roads. This is all fatalities. And while numbers have gone down a little bit this year, thankfully so far, there still are far too many deaths. Bicyclists especially have been having a really bad year this year with 7 bicycle fatalities. That is the most since 2016, and that was for all of 2016, not just this part of the year. And really, I think sometimes it's easy to forget that people who die in traffic deaths are people, because you see the statistics a lot, and it's really important to remember that it's not just statistics, they're people. So what those numbers meant is that for bicyclists and pedestrians only, there were more than 1,600 crashes. That means every 5 days there was 23 crashes, 3 serious injuries, and 1 death. And all of the pictures of people on the right side of the screen are people who unfortunately lost their life in traffic crashes. When you put this in the context of the percentage of crashes that pedestrian crashes actually make up, it's even more startling. So according to the Connecticut Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board annual report last year, pedestrian crashes made up about 2% of all crashes in the state, but 20% of fatalities. So given the difference between the total crashes and total fatalities, it's even more dangerous to be a pedestrian than, say, a driver. So now on to one of the solutions. Watch For Me CT. We are a statewide program that's aimed at reducing the number of injuries and fatalities as a result of traffic crashes involving bicyclists and pedestrians. It's a program that's spearheaded by the Connecticut Department of Transportation and the Connecticut Children's Injury Prevention Center, which is where I work. The program was adopted in 2017 after a 1-week period in December 2016 with 9 serious crashes involving pedestrians that resulted in 8 fatalities. So the major elements of Watch For Me CT, and these are really a lot of the things that we can help you and your communities with, include a media campaign, educational materials, community engagement, and then idea sharing. So this ranges everything from billboards, bus tails, and radio outlets to participation in community events like safety fairs or family fun days, as well as idea sharing between organizations and communities. And what it isn't, I think, is also really important. It's not an anti-jaywalking campaign. It's not a one-time effort. It's a sort of a multi-pronged approach to safety. This is an example, a slide that shows all the things that we do. It ranges from group presentations and trainings to outreach, school presentations. And if you wanted to work with us on a safety education plan, really, we could talk about doing any one of these or even more. Here is an example of our media campaign that you might see on like bus tails and billboards, and I know they're on ads on actual TV. These are an example of some of our social media materials. We do things that are specifically targeted towards days like Halloween, which is one of the most dangerous days for pedestrians, as well as provide statistics and knowledge to help keep people safe. This slide shows some of our back to school and pedestrian safety month materials, as well as a partnership we did with the Farmington Valley Trail Council about RRFBs, which are those rectangular rapid flashing beacons. And then lastly, the overarching topic that we can cover is cross-topic education. So while drunk driving or work zone safety might not technically be part of like ped safety, it includes road safety, which is important for keeping everyone safe. So before I get into this, I just want to make one more note. You might hear when talking about road safety, the 3, 4, or 5 E's. The 3 E's that you hear the most about are education, engineering, and enforcement, which sort of all have their part to play in road safety. Watch For Me CT is an education program, so that's the education E, but really it's a group effort to help make sure that that roads are safe for everyone. So one of the things that we developed fairly recently are awareness day tiles. Over the course of the year, there are several days meant to draw attention to various road safety activities or groups. And we created a series of tiles that any town can use to help draw awareness to this. We can even put your logo on it. As a side note, pretty much anything we do to help a town can have your logo on it. And we'll talk about that more, as if that's something you want to do. But these are ready for the end of the year, so it just would be just a matter of getting them to you, and I can send captions as well if you would like them. There'll be a new batch for next year that covers the whole year, but for this year we have tiles for the awareness days over the remainder of the year. The most popular thing that I would say we do for towns are create these social media tiles. So these social media tiles can have information on them. They can cover whatever safety topic you want. And we have a supply that you can look at on our website, which I'm going to go through after I'm done with this presentation. They're available for download, but if you want anything customized, we can do that. If you like one image with different words, that can also happen. Everything is very customizable. In a more robust plan, we take sort of a multi-pronged approach. This is an example of something that we did with Manchester, which included an op-ed, tabling, creation of educational materials, and then a presentation to the board of directors. The thing that I think makes this so great is that a town of any size can take advantage of it because, the needs of, say, Stanford might be different than, say, the needs of, Bethel or Washington. Here's more social media tiles that we created for towns. I think the one in the top left is for the city of Hartford. We have a couple for Stanford and then also Norwalk. And these really can be on any road safety topic because, every community is different and the needs of every community is going to vary. In addition to our customizable social media tiles, we also have educational resources that are meant to take engineering topics or like more technical road safety issues and translate them to make them more accessible for the public. So, if you wanted to put in, say, a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, that might require some education. And we've tried to plug that or provide that so towns can just very easily go and download these. They can be converted into PNGs if posting them on your like a Facebook page is an easier way to distribute them. This is a list of some of the ones that we have on our website, including like safe driving around bicycles and pedestrians, hawk beacons, several around roundabouts, slow down, move over. And if there's something that you are looking for that we don't have, we're very happy to create it because it's likely that other people would need that as well. So we can create these resources on pretty much anything. Or if it's something that should be customized or would be better for your town to be customized, we can do that too. So for example, we worked with Stratford after they had created a couple new traffic calming elements on their main street that involved putting in separated bike lanes and bike boxes and some cross hatching. And after meeting with the town, we decided that it would be better just to have it on one sheet. I mean, it's hard enough to get people to read anything, and I think making it as easy as possible to get that information is paramount. So it could be that this is a better approach for your town. I mean, this really is going to be something that we talk about if you want to take advantage of our services. So now I'm going to walk everyone through some of the resources that we have available on the website. Can everyone see that?
I still see your PowerPoint.
I'll see my PowerPoint. Okay. I think I'm just gonna do it this way. Okay, so this is the Watch For Me CT website. We have a lot of data on there. So if you wanted to go through and find, the status of bicycle and pedestrian fatalities this year or in the last several years, we have that information here. This year we're at 32 pedestrian fatalities and 7 bicyclists. And that 7 bicycle fatality is the 9-year high that was all of 20. Well, that represented the same amount of deaths as all bicycle fatalities in 2016. There are the reports from Yukon that you can download, which is what was on my screen earlier, that had the more Connecticut focused data, as well as the pedestrian fatality map. The resources page is where you can find all of the things that I was talking about regarding social media, and you can even search by topic. So say you wanted to just do something about bike safety. If you scroll down to bike safety, you can then access all of what we have loaded onto our website with, or that covers bike safety. Like I said, if there's something that you want that's different, we are happy to create that. Or let's say you like this image with these words, for example. I don't know if that goes together as well. We can change that around. We have a lot of road safety topics. So there's one for drivers and pedestrian safety month, runner safety, school safety. And if what you're looking for isn't there, we can create other things. If you scroll down, this is where you see those downloadable resources. So they're resources that cover all the road safety topics that are meant to help educate people. I know a big one recently is e-bikes. So one resource that we created fairly recently is an update to the e-bikes Know the Law. And we are happy to create other things if this doesn't quite address what your community needs. One other thing that I don't really have to show you at the moment because it's newer, but I think that so it seems like, and I don't know if everyone else has this experience, that people who want traffic calming ask for speed bumps because that's all they know. So to sort of respond to that, we've created a more than just speed bumps, essentially social media resource. On our website, they're going to be marked and then will be on our website shortly, because I know that nobody likes driving over speed bumps, but because that's all they know, that's what people ask for. So this is sort of an attempt to educate everyone about all the other amazing options that there are for traffic calming. So I think that brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'd be happy to stay and answer questions for anyone that has them.
Anna, thank you so much. That was super informative, and it's amazing all of the resources and support that Watch Room ECT can provide. Like, what an amazing resource. Yeah, so anyone who has any questions, feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat and I'll read your question out.
I do have a question. This is Amy Ziffer. And I can't find where to raise my hand in Zoom
No
anymore.
worries.
I don't know. Can somebody tell me how, first of all, where to find that?
If you click react, it looks like a little heart
Yeah.
at the bottom, and then
Oh, all right. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
no problem.
Well, in any case, now that I have your attention, yeah, I'm a little unclear on how the social media, I mean, you call them social media tiles. So these are not physical objects of any kind. These are just meant to be posted somewhere online. Is that correct? They're
Yeah.
virtual
Yes.
materials?
Yes. So our social media tiles are images that you can post. It works best, honestly, when you have as many different town social media channels or accounts posting them simultaneously, because that tends to get them in front of as many eyeballs as possible, which is really what you need for successful engagement. But yeah, so they're images designed for social media that will provide like captions that you can use with them, and can be designed to cover whatever topics are important to your community. So this is an example of a series that we did for Simsbury that included driving safe, being visible, and stopping for pedestrians.
So can you maybe elaborate on how Simsbury used it in order to get maximum effectiveness out of it?
So, and I can tell you what we recommended. I'm going to be completely honest. Once we sent the tiles, it isn't something that I like monitored per se, but our recommendation is that so generally different like town offices will have different social media resources. So there might be a social media account for Park and Rec, and a social media account for Public Works, and a social media account for, I don't know, the mayor or for selectmen or whatever executive runs your town. The recommendation is that you have them posted on all of those social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram and whatever else you use. That way, because people are going to subscribe to the things that are most interested or they're most interested in. So by posting them on as many town social media resources as possible, you're getting more engagement with them, hopefully.
So, okay, thank you. So I live in Sherman, and it's a small town. You know, I kind of doubt that there are any social media accounts. Maybe the first selectman. That's a possibility. So that's why I'm having a little, difficulty. I don't even know how many people find the town website, much less social media accounts that might be associated with individual departments or anything like that, if they exist. But I would certainly approach the first selectman and say, can this be can something like this just be posted at the town website in some prominent fashion, and then, should be changed out every so often. We do get a lot of bicyclists. We don't have a lot of pedestrians here because it's not a pedestrian friendly town, but it is a popular town for people to pass through if they're doing day bicycle tours. And there are certain locations in town that are you know, there are visibility issues and things like that, where I think maybe extra attention really needs to be drawn. I'm trying to think about how some of your tools could be used in this town to help with that situation.
Yeah, so it could be that maybe social media isn't the best fit for what you need in your community. I mean, maybe in your community, and I'm not really familiar with Sherman, so if something I'm saying doesn't track, or just, let me know. But it could be that, like, a table at a community day or a table at town hall um to talk about road safety, or even a presentation to town leaders could be what you need. The great thing about this program is it really is on a town by town or municipality by municipality basis. And we're happy to discuss that with anyone and everyone.
If I could get interest from the first selectman or anybody on the Board of Selectmen here to talk with Watch from ECT. And I don't know that they may already have done that in the past, and I'm just not aware of it, but who would be the appropriate contact?
So Kate is going to include my contact info afterwards, and I believe she's also going to send out this presentation.
Yes.
So you can reach out to me, and I can get the ball rolling if you're interested.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Sierra, your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you, or I guess I should introduce myself. Sierra Patrick, I'm the Economic Development Manager for the City of Groton. So I did just want to say thank you for your presentation, because I definitely see how use, especially the social media, the educational awareness, and I'm really excited to see that you guys are expanding the discussion about traffic calming options besides speed bumps and kind of further exploring that. I was wondering, have you heard of tactical urbanism and maybe a willingness to work with communities as they kind of try to test some of these traffic calming solutions?
I have heard of tactical urbanism. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense in communities that sort of fit that criteria. And as for engagement for communities that are trying new things, I think that is a place where we can be used very well. When you want to change the road pattern, engagement early and often is very important, because people do not love change a lot of the time. Even if it's something that has like the data to back it up, it's still different, which people don't always love. There is a statistic that blows my mind every single time I read about it, that essentially when communities are trying to do things like put in roundabouts or road diets, there is a very high rate of disapproval before it's put in. But then once the project happens, the statistic flips, and it's like, well, why didn't we do this in the first place? The trick is not getting bogged down in the people being so afraid of change that the project gets shut down before it even really gets started. That has happened in a couple communities. So education, the education piece is something we can help with, and at any part in the process, but earlier is definitely better, right along the scenario that you described, which is something we could absolutely help with.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad that you completely understand the process, and definitely look forward to talking to you further along. And then just my last question was, it's nice to have the campaigns that focus towards the community, but do you guys do anything with major employers in communities, or maybe be willing to collaborate on something that kind of reaches out to like those HR to try to grasp that, more directly interact with that community, like the commuters?
So I mean, definitely something that I don't know that that's something we've ever really done. Oh, wait, I'm being told that we have we have done this by my boss that's sitting right behind me. So yes, that is something that we would be happy to do. I mean, commuters are obviously a large percentage of people on the road, and if you can get more people to commute via bike and pedestrian and walking, and if your community, supports that with, size and infrastructure, that gets more people off the road, which does, generally just make things safer.
Okay, awesome.
I
All
don't
right,
know
so
if
I
that
really look
answered your
forward to
question.
that answers my question, and it sounds like we're going to have a fun follow-up. So looking forward to your contact info.
Looking forward to chatting later.
Thank you, Sierra. That's a really interesting angle too, to think about major employers and their commuters and targeting those folks with the campaign. We have a question in the chat. Anna or Sierra, could one of you define tactical urbanism for everyone on the call who might not be familiar?
Yes.
Broad strokes is fine.
So tactical urbanism is when you do short-term or quick build projects that are meant to like serve as a pilot that allows people to try out changes to the road. So you're not committing to that multi-million-dollar road update initially, and it sort of allows the community to understand and try out what the project is going to be. These can be, as simple as putting up those ballards and like more temporary traffic calming infrastructure, or sometimes murals are used for bump outs, things like that. You can create like a like a community space by extending a sidewalk or putting up those ballards or whatever to create a more physical barrier that allows like cars to sort of understand new traffic patterns or drivers to try out new traffic patterns.
That's great, thank you. There's another question in the chat from Randy, who says that the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail is being routed through Plainville. And Randy wants to know if you've had any input on its route or design.
So I'm actually going to hand this off to Amy Watkins, who's the other Anna Stern, because she sits on the board of that trail and is much better equipped to answer this question than I am.
Hi. Oh, first, thanks so much for having us on and having Anna on. I work with Anna for Watch from ECT, and it ties so nicely in with the goals of sustainable CT, because obviously the more that people are using active transportation, the less they're using cars and other things like that. But one of the biggest concerns that people always say is they would bike or walk more if they felt safer. And so we are, instrumental in trying to not only make, streets safer for people, encourage people to get out there. And the more people that get out, so safety is in numbers. So the more bicyclists, the more pedestrians you have, generally the safer it is for those people. So we want to encourage that infrastructure change and behavior change and things like that, that encourage people to get out there and bike and walk more, because it's better for your health, it's better for the environment, etc. But to address the question about the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail, I sit on that board. And the trail is, we have a lot of input in it, as well as all the other trail organizations in the area. There's a lot of advocates that have been working in bike ped safety for a long time that are informing that process. So I know, although we don't directly get involved in planning out where the trail is going to go, we do have some input, and we know the players in the game, and we know that they are committed to safety. So they're looking at different options and weighing all the pros and cons, and really trying to close that last gap that we have in the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail, which goes, if you don't know, from New Haven all the way up to the Mass border, and it has a few gaps in it. I want to say that Plainville's the last one to be finished, and safety is definitely something that all of those folks are considering. So thanks again for having us. This was really great to meet you all and to hear your questions.
Yeah, we're so happy to have Anna join and speak about what you're doing. I'll also say, since you mentioned the sort of the shared goals of the program and how road safety has so many sustainability connections, if you are on the call and you are on a sustainability team, or you are from a municipality that participates in sustainable CT, a lot of the assistance that Watch For Me CT offers overlaps very well with our actions. So you can earn points towards certification if you get some of this awesome technical help and assistance. So if that's something that you do, and then you want to know how to make it count on your sustainable CT application, reach out to our team and we will get you sorted. Another question in the chat: what are some popular and effective traffic calming alternatives to speed bumps, including things that maybe are not so big in Connecticut but have been done in other places?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different kinds of traffic calming elements that go beyond speed bumps, which is why I'm, it started out as a joke calling our new thing more than just speed bumps, but I think we ended up just liking the title so much that it kind of stayed with that. Other traffic calming elements include things like bump outs and road diets, which is when you take a 4-lane road and you convert it to 3 with one lane going in either direction and then a turning lane. There are a couple other kinds of road diets, but that is the most common one. Things like raised crosswalks, which do kind of have a similar function as a speed bump, but they also have a purpose of slowing people down where people are crossing. Because a lot of times what you see with speed bumps is people will slow down, go over the speed bump, and then they will speed right back up. So that's why they might not even be as effective as you might want them to be. If you go to Federal Highway's website, they have a page that lists proven safety countermeasures that are a bunch of different there's 28 different traffic calming measures that you can try. I will include that link in the email that I send to Kate after this. So, or Kate just put it in the chat.
We'll send it in the email too. That's a really great resource.
But there's a lot of different and varied approaches that you can try depending on what you want to accomplish. For each one of the traffic calming measures, they include a fact sheet that sort of includes what the impact generally is and how it's applied.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. Any other questions from anyone on the call? I'll ask, if you don't mind. This is sort of I don't know, what you talked a lot, Anna, about how your offerings can be so tailored to a specific community. Do you have anything that you've done that you thought was really unique and you were like, oh my gosh, never thought I'd be working on something like this? Like, I don't know, road sharing with horses or something just unexpected.
Okay, I wish I had a cool answer for this. I don't know that I do. I know something that has been done by the program, but not done by me. There was an event that was set up that was basically celebrating that people used crosswalks, which I think is just such a cool idea because they're there and we want people to use them, but a lot of times people don't. And I'm not there are all sorts of reasons why you might not use a crosswalk, but because that really is the safest place for you to cross, because that's where cars are expecting you to be. So the idea of having an event that sort of highlights that and sort of rewards people for doing what they're supposed to do seems like a cool idea. But sharing the road with horses, maybe we can make that work somehow.
Great. If there are no other questions, and if you don't have any last words you want to share, then I think we can wrap up. But I want to say thank you so much for joining and for speaking. This was an awesome presentation. I hope that any of our sustainable CT communities reach out and work with you all. And thank you so much. We'll follow up with an email with some resources and Anna's contact info. Yeah, thanks everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.